Okay, so I was praying, and I prayed that God, that I wouldn't be a racist, and I felt like the Holy Spirit corrected me, and I felt like the Holy Spirit was saying, what you need to pray for is that you will love your neighbor as you love yourself. And it kind of made me pause, and it made sense. And when you think about the parable that Jesus used in context of that was the Good Samaritan parable. And Jesus, a Jewish lawyer, asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? When Jesus told him, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, all your strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And the lawyer asked, who's my neighbor? And Jesus told them the parable of the Good Samaritan. Now, and at that time, for a Jew, Good Samaritan was an oxymoron, because these were two different ethnic groups and they could not get along. I mean, they just couldn't stand each other. And in the story, Jesus talks about a man who was jumped and beat up and left for dead. And he introduces three characters: a priest, a Levite, which is like a temple assistant, so someone who works in the temple, and a priest, and a Samaritan. The Levite comes by and he goes to the other side of the road. So he sees the man bloodied and beaten and half dead, but he keeps moving. And the priest does the same thing. But when the Samaritan comes, the Samaritan sees him and has compassion for him. And he takes the man and he anoints the man's wounds with oil and wine. And that's kind of like, that day's version of first aid, okay? Oil and wine. And he bandages the guy up as best he can, and he puts him on his beast, or donkey, or whatever, and he takes him to an inn. And he pays for the man to stay at the inn. And he tells the innkeeper, I gotta keep going with my business, but, take care of this man, and if you need any more expenses, I'll pay for it. And Jesus asked the lawyer, okay, who was the neighbor to the man who fell among thieves? And the lawyer said, the one who showed mercy on him. And Jesus said, go and do likewise. And I'm like, this is not an easy principle always, because it's not always easy to stop for someone who needs us. It's easier to do like the Levite and the priest and just keep going. But that's the lesson here. Jesus is saying, you don't have to micromanage or look for microaggression or do any of the politically correct stuff where you're managing every little thing and Jesus said, just show compassion to your neighbor, and as you go along your way, love others the same way you love yourself, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so I was like, yeah. Enough said.